Terrence Crawford is a great fighter. He's a good fighter, but like I say, he's weight classes for a reason. He say, if I beat him, everybody's gonna say, he was too small, and I have nothing to win.
Let's get to the elephant in the room, which is a significant size disparity coming into the bout. Although Crawford technically has a 1-inch height advantage along with over a 3-inch reach advantage, that doesn't change the fact that Crawford has never competed north of 154 pounds. Meanwhile, Canelo has fought as heavy as 175 pounds and has been dominant at the 168-pound weight class for over 3 years. Both his power and durability have been tested and proven formidable, visibly hurting 7 out of the 10 opponents he's faced at super middleweight without ever suffering a knockdown, all of which were naturally bigger men than Terrence Crawford. With such a gap in size, Crawford doesn't necessarily have to make a technical mistake in order to be in danger. Opening up to throw a punch typically puts you in position to receive one, which is just a reality in the system of boxing. The weight disparity makes that reality even more risky. If Canelo can time any of Crawford's punches and catch him while he's taking the risk, the consequences will be far worse than normal. Canelo's feints will likely disrupt Crawford's timing, stifling his offense. Being at the pound-for-pound level, Crawford is skilled and experienced enough to knowingly disengage in an attempt to disarm the potential setup. However, he's also a prolific counterpuncher that heavily relies on timing, which can cause feints to make him hesitant to attack. A considerable issue against a known slow starter. Canelo was particularly known for sitting on the vast majority of his punches, including jabs. Canelo uses feints in order to set up these loaded punches as well, momentarily freezing his opponent and reading his opponent's tendencies and reactions to exploit later on in the fight. Canelo uses various feints from pre-slips, jab feints, foot feints, and level changes. Canelo will likely be able to punish Crawford's probing lead hand. Crawford often uses probes with the lead hand in order to control distance along with small reverse steps. With that being said, Crawford's probes can be timed just like a jab can be timed, similar to a single mid-range jab. Remaining in punch range while throwing the weakest punch in your arsenal puts yourself at great risk of being victim to the strongest punches in your opponent's arsenal. Fighting against southpaws, Canelo typically attacks fighters who probe at range through the use of various counters, but most notably vicious counter lead hooks near or towards his opponent's liver. Coupled with his tendency to probe at mid-range, Canelo will likely be able to abuse Crawford's tendency to move back in straight lines. Having to take more than one step back to exit out of punch range is considered moving back linearly, as well as an easy way to end up near or on the ropes while remaining on your opponent's line of attack. If Canelo's penetration step is quick enough to catch Crawford off guard, or if Bud is already located near the ropes, one step back can have just as many consequences. Once his opponents are close to the ropes, Canelo often lets his hands go in combinations. Typically, it's the double jab hook or overhand, taking away Crawford's option to fight near the ropes if he wants to win rounds. Canelo will most likely have advantages over Crawford when fighting in the pocket. Crawford tends to use the Philly shell on the inside, keeping his lead hand in the sling with his rear hand protecting his chin. Crawford's shell is an issue where he occasionally isn't using the lead hand to control or frame the arm parallel to the sling, leaving an opening for an overhand or hook to catch his chin. Furthermore, Crawford can at times be in an inactive high guard, which has holes around the flanks and straight through the guard as well that can be painfully picked apart against a naturally bigger champion. Canelo is a capable inside fighter that can use frames, posts, and head control to momentarily stifle opponents' punching and also create space to establish offense. When he's in the pocket, he puts together explosive combinations, attacking the body. Canelo is also very physical and often breaks or pushes off attempts at clinching, an issue that may prove to be the nail in the coffin for the naturally smaller fighter. Canelo will likely punish Crawford's tendency to occasionally duck at mid-range. Typically, Crawford is disciplined enough to duck and smother, preventing his opponent from establishing any offense. However, at times, Crawford may duck at mid-range without an aforementioned smother or shuffling out of range. This issue becomes even worse when Crawford does this near or against the ropes, restricting his movement. Previous opponents have punished this by stopping their penetration step short, attacking Crawford in this exposed position. Canelo often baits out ducking with a throwaway jab that's followed by a physical control to hold them in place, and lastly a power punch. Like Bud, Canelo was also a multi-weight champion who became undisputed twice in the very division Crawford is challenging him in. Furthermore, as stated in the film study, Crawford has real technical issues that Canelo can take advantage of to secure victory. Even if Crawford puts on a tremendous performance, that still doesn't guarantee the judges won't favor Canelo's aggression when applying pressure as seen in his previous fights. Not to mention, Crawford is coming off a 13th-month layoff where Canelo will be coming back in only 4. We don't know how Crawford's durability will hold up at the new weight class, nor do we know how fast or how hard Crawford hits at 168. Although there are visible signs that Canelo is slowing down, there's too many intangibles against Bud not to favor Canelo to give him his first loss. Let me know who you got in the comment section below. Thanks for watching.